Right. So, Kerrie, what is the one thing that truly maximizes the value of someone's home when they go to sell their property?
Okay, so many answers to that question. But before we get into this properly, I just want to thank you for everything you do with TikTok and your socials, because I think you give us people, the independence a voice, and it's nice to have someone else saying it. So thanks very much. Back to the question, and I do remember it, so we're good. I don't want to spend too long talking about price, but of course, price is out there. Vendors, sellers want as much money for their property as possible, and it's my job to help them get that. But you do that, in my opinion, by being absolutely truthful based on facts, on what you've sold in the area, what land registry is telling you it's sold in the area, and how surveyors are going to look at the property, because that's a huge thing. You can sell a property 30 grand over asking, but is it going to survey up? And then if it's not, you're back to square one. So setting the right price, I think, is key. I haven't got any formulas, just facts, and the promise that I will do my best for my vendors, my sellers. There's too many false promises, aren't there? We all compete against the corporate agents who just pull a figure out their arse and back it up with something. And look, it's difficult because we all have to earn a living. We all have to, we go work because I love it. I'm really lucky with that. But we go to work to earn money, to look after our families and stuff. And I try and do that by just being straight. Just be straight with people. So what I say is that, Kerrie, we really like you, but that guy from a chain promised 50 grand more. And you think, okay, so what I try and do is say, okay, well, listen, let's look how he could have got to that price. I believe it's this. So we can try this figure, which is somewhere in between, for a couple of weeks and see what happens. But I feel this is going to be better. So it's just getting the trust of your vendor, I think, is quite pivotal to it. I feel like I've gone off track a little bit.
No.
But yeah,
I think you're dead correct. I absolutely think you're dead correct. So price, but price based on fact. So not typically what I've experienced, where the corporate guy goes or the chain of 16 to 20 agents, and it's all about KPIs. And I've seen it where they've said to sellers, so this property we marketed just down the road, this property we marketed just a bit round the corner, this property, and they're pointing to prices on the marketing price, but they're not saying that this is what it's sold for.
Absolutely.
This price, and I made a mistake. The actual real money was down here. And by the way, I made another mistake and the real money's down here. So really, I would be making a mistake if I was to suggest to you to go for the money I suggested to those other people. I think that's what you're saying, right?
I think that's the crux of it, yeah. Because I would love to say, well, I'm not taking it on and that's it. But I've got staff and overheads, and I can't be in a position where I'm not at the party going for the pound notes, because ultimately that's what we're all here for. I've had this conversation many times with surveyors, and because surveyors phone me probably daily. I've got I'm known as Kerrie Nails in they know me when they come in to pop in for keys, because I've been here quite a long time. I've been here in Hainault for 15 years. So yeah, I'm known in the area, and I know my stuff about non-standard construction properties, about the PRC certificates. And in fact, I can't believe I'm going to out myself here, but if you look up Kerrie Binder on Google Images, there is a picture of me holding a for sale board, looking like a bulldog licking piss off a stinging nettle, right? Because the council wanted to withdraw the PRC certificates and they didn't want to issue them anymore. So I went to task to the council, and there's me, like, honestly, it's the most unattractive picture. And yeah, that's great. But what I was saying, so yeah, surveyors phone me up and I say to them, can you believe it? And they're like, Kerrie, the last 10 valuations I've done, they've all been downvalued. And they think, okay, so I know that I'm right. And that's quite reassuring. But you have to have that always at the back of your mind, I think, is, are we going to be cheeky here? Are we going to be able to get away with the price we've sold it for? What comparables am I showing the surveyor when he walks into the office?
Yeah.
So I mean, so that's the price element. And I think I don't want to bang on for 20 minutes about it. I think there's more to it. You know, there are just so many factors. What does the property look like, you know, inside? I mean, let's face it, we all know we've been to properties where you think, oh God, how am I going to sell this? I remember once, just a quick story, I got a valuation to go in to this lady's property. She'd been into the office, lovely older lady. And I pulled up outside the house, and, you know, you just think, oh. So each window had about 10 to 12 cats, I reckon, in each one. The net curtains went from piss yellow all the way up to, you know, slightly lighter shades of colour. And, you know, you just think, no, I don't think I want that. So and I'm walking up to the door, and there were literally piles of cat shit in the porch. And, you know, you just think, no. So, and I will own it. I did lie, and I started sneezing, pretending to sneeze. And I said, I'm so sorry. I am so allergic to cats. If I come in there, I could die. And she was like, oh, that's a shame. And all this, you know, and I got in the car, but the waft of cat piss was just overwhelming. And I was like, no, thanks, darling. I'll leave that there. Let one of the chains have it. So that was that. Yeah, that was a good story. But, you know, what are you working with? Are you realistically going to be able to do that? And I don't think it hurts to say to vendors, to sellers, listen, we're going to have a little bit of a sort out, bit of a tidy up. Let's show this space for what it is. I think you do it in a way where it's not offensive. It's not offensive. You're the expert. You're telling your vendors how to present their home. So that's really important. And taking photos, again, we've all seen on Rightmove. You think, what? How were they putting a property online with those photos? And it's just silly things down to, I want all the net curtains down. So at the valuation, when I go in and they say, Kerrie, do you know what? Yeah, I want you to work for me or sell my house. I'm like, okay, just so you know, when I come round, and I do my photography. I don't employ a professional, maybe one day, but not right now. And I say, I would like the net curtains to come down. So if you've got a thing about cleaning windows, now would be a good time. And we take the nets down, and I move stuff out of the way. You know, in a kitchen, take the bloody tea towel off of the handle. Just, it's silly things. I did one the other day, and the lady was lovely, and I was chatting, and I'm not concentrating 100%. And there was a pink pot of like chewing gum on the side. And when I got back, I'm looking, I'm like, shit, all you can see is this pink pot. I wished I'd have moved it, you know? So it's just about presenting the property in the best way, making the best of the space. Another quick tip, the bloody dressing gowns on the back of door hangers. So when you go into the bathroom, you push in against 30 dressing gowns, take it away, go and put it in the car, because you want to open the space up. I feel like I'm really rambling, but
no, not at all. So I think all the points are valid, but if I just bring it back slightly, what happens if the tea towel's taken off the handle, if the dressing gowns are removed from the actual back of the door in the bathroom, but the price isn't correct?
Oh, thank you for that question, John. I should be a politician, shouldn't I? Yeah, I mean, listen, those are all little touches that I make in maximising the offers that come in from people coming to view. Reality, does it make loads and loads of difference? To me, it does, absolutely. And when I'm doing viewings, I want the buyers to see the space and feel the space for them. So for me, it's probably not as dramatic as I would want it to be, having made the statement to you, but it is important in what I do for my clients. Because it's my job to get as much for them as possible, but not only just the price, the best buyers. Because at the moment, I feel like a lot of the agents working now, in the chains or whatever, or competitors, have not been in the business for long enough to know how to handle a buyer's market, because it's been a seller's market for so long.
But I just want to add something to what you just said then, and that is so important. It's such a salient point. Price is the carrot on the end of the stick, but then of course at the end of the day we need to make sure that the property is in its best possible light. The property that I live in, I actually rent, and when we went to rent this property, we don't have dogs, right? So for us, the smell of dogs was really pungent. Not only that, the property needed to be completely repainted. The carpet was really old. And, you know, the sort of carpet our nans would have in their house. That's what it was like. And it was all different colours in different parts of the room. And so I said to my wife at the time, I said, look, we'll put an asking price offer in, but it's going to come with a load of conditions. And the conditions are that the carpet changes, that the house is getting totally repainted because, you know, and a number of other different things. But what the agent had done is went for the quick buck and took the first offer that came their way that didn't have any conditions. And so my wife was like, oh my God, we've lost it. And I said, no, we haven't lost it. I can guarantee you, once that tenant realizes that because they didn't put conditions in place, that the landlord ain't going to go, well, I'm not going to do the carpets. You didn't ask for carpets when you put the offer in. So, or was for anything to be repainted.
Yeah.
So then they ended up coming back to us. Now, the reason I'm saying this was because I genuinely believe the agent probably cost the landlord about 250 quid a month. Because if they had been the beginning before the property even come to market, please paint the house, please recarpet the property, and trust me on this, I'm going to get you at least another 200, 250 quid a month, which then if they then extend their tenancy, because we've done a 2-year tenancy, but extend it again, then that's more money in your back pocket later on. So that 800 quid you just spent on carpet is actually a huge investment in that, but never said it. So we got ourselves a bloody fan-fucking-tastic deal.
Yeah, of course.
Because the agent was just trying to earn that quick buck, as opposed to what you're saying is
the long term.
Let's get the price correct, because we need to get the price correct, because most people are using a mortgage. When the surveyor turns up, I want to be able to say to that surveyor, if we've gone over the money, so we're maximising value, by the way, here are the people that have actually offered on this place. Wow, 5 offers on this place, and you got 415 when you marketed for 400, but there's 5 offers above asking price.
That's right.
Fine. I'm now going to value that up. But if you do it the opposite way round, going for 425 on the market, and then that one buyer comes along and goes at 400, now the problem is you're worried about whether that buyer is actually going to stick with it, because if they don't, do I have another buyer that I can replace this person with straight away? Which means my client, my seller or your seller, doesn't have to worry about their onward purchase. They can still continue because one's been replaced easily.
Of course. And the point about the rental experience you had, I mean, listen, we get involved. We're letting agents as well. And we've got, not a massive portfolio, but it keeps us busy. We've got about 135 now that we look after. Sometimes we're invited to go because our reputation is very good. And we go out to these places that I wouldn't let my dog sleep in. And you've got to say, there is no chance of us taking this on unless you do a complete refurb. We've got people who can do that for you, but we are saying it's got to have a new kitchen. The bathroom's not fit for purpose. This. And if you do that, your outlay, you're going to add value to your property in the long run. And from a rental point of view, I wouldn't work as it is. So you do the work, or we do the work for you, and then we will achieve X amount of pounds, and that's the value. So you are completely right. That's lazy agency there. And again, you're being straight with people. You're not doing it because you're looking at the long term, especially with rentals, and that is important. Although we only give 6-month contracts in the first instance, because we don't know if the tenant's going to be, are they going to like it? They might hate the neighbours, so you try and work with purchasers, with tenants, with landlords, and show them the same respect and give them the same advice.
So is it, Kerrie, is it price, or is it experienced enough to see the punches coming, and you're actually, what you're really doing is not just price, it's everything else. So in effect, you're protecting your clients
at all costs. Yes. I think to say just price is, for me, there's more than that. It's, you've got to make this house attractive enough that people are going to want to buy it and offer you more. The market has changed, as we all know. And you've just got to work in the market that you're dealing with now, not what's past, not what was. You know, agents around here certainly are valuing like it was last year. It's like, come on. And although we've not had a landslide, the prices are holding steady. We're still having to be super realistic. And the buy-to-let market as well. I mean, buy-to-lets at the moment, I want a mortgage offer before I would consider sending sales memos out, because the rental valuations that buyers are putting on the properties as they are now, then they're falling at the first hurdle, because the surveyor's coming back and saying, Kerrie, come on, I've got to get to £2,000 a month and it's only worth 1,700. And I'm like, I'm not going to compromise my professional relationship with surveyors to appease a greedy buy-to-let investor who's wrong on his figures.
Yeah
So I think there's just so much. And like, you know, you're saying condense it into half an hour. I think I could talk to you to about 7 o'clock, putting, what's so bad about it. But then there are some great moments. What I love about my job is that the other day it happened. I got a guy wanted discreet marketing. And I was like, hello, 1990s, we're back. But it was no right move, no online portals. Is that a problem for you, Kerrie? And I said, no. I'll promise you I will do my best. And that's how I left it. And I knew who was going to buy this, because I'd met them the week before. Lovely family. It was under their price point. So the price of the property was 640. That's what I was going to put it on the market at. I'm saying to them, listen, if you want it, nobody else has seen this. You need to come in strong. Don't mess about. Do you want it? And they were like, yeah, we love it. And you know, when you're going round and they're looking at the big kitchen and the views outside, and she lit up. And I think you look at her, and this is really not politically correct, but when you're with a couple, I always look at her, because I'm thinking, if she's placing the Christmas tree, if she's picking colours or where she's going to put her sofa, we know we're good, which we read people to maximize the amount of money for our event. So I'm just bringing it back to the question, I think, which was about working, having a plan B. You work for your vendor. You want to get on with the purchases, but I'm employed to do a job by my vendors. So in my head, I'm always running a plan B, plan C, and possibly a band D. How many times have we done it where the property they're moving into, the agent's crap and has done a shitty job, and they haven't followed everything along? I had an occasion a couple of weeks ago where an agent, and I couldn't believe it happened, he phoned me, said, Kerrie, can you do me a favour? Can you speak to my vendor? So just to be clear, because I get it a bit confuddled sometimes. So my vendor was moving into a property buying through this agent. Can I speak to his client about what's going on? And yeah, of course. Part of me, I could nick this instruction, but I wouldn't. I would let's just do it. And I communicated with their client weekly, letting them know what was happening. The communication was there. And then the day before exchange, I phoned that agent. I said, listen, I've done all the legwork. All you need to do, can you phone the solicitor, make sure everything is lined up for an exchange of contracts tomorrow? Can you do that? Yeah, that's fine. Did they? Fuck. They didn't. So in the morning, I'm saying, okay, we're ready to exchange. Oh, there's still one thing outstanding. So what? But you told me you were ready. You've been telling me you were ready. And I asked you to check that we were ready yesterday, and you didn't. So it was, that was in one of my Google reviews, actually, my lady who left me that. So anyway.
Yeah, but but the important thing is, though, there, Kerrie, is that lots of agents are scared to go up and down the chain. are scared to introduce themselves to the other agents that are inside the other chain and going, right, so basically, so my seller is buying through you, buying such and such road.
Yep.
Who is your seller buying through? Or is this where the chain's stopping? And actually going up and down, so you know to within an inch of its life where you actually are in the process. And I find it astonishing that an agent, fair enough, they trust you enough to ask you to get involved, but I still find that astonishing that they don't really know where everything is. And by the way, when you've actually set everything up, they've still not gone and done their job, and yet they're still going to get paid a fee, even though you're getting it across the line.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is as well with that, in addition, so we exchanged, that agent phoned my vendor to ask them the completion date.
What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So he phoned my vendor to say, oh, congratulations, yeah, I understand we exchanged. What was the completion date? And I was just like, are you joking? Like, this is ridiculous. But stranger things have happened. But that, what you said about the chain, for me, that happens at point of offer.
Yeah.
If they're in a chain, I want to know the ins and outs of a duck's arse to make sure that what I'm reporting to my vendor is correct information, up-to-date information. And you hear it so often. I mean, we are a busy independent agent, and we work really hard. I mean, we work hard for our clients because, you know, we're paid to, but that's the best part of my job. From walking in there at valuation to taking the property on, doing the floor plan and getting it online, all the portals, doing the viewings, I am basically there from valuation to taking their keys and packing them off on their way to their new house. And that, it's lovely. It's emotional. Sometimes, I mean, you have someone who's packing up their life, they've been there for 50 years, you know, of course it's emotional. And I'm terrible. I am a crier. I am a crier. But yeah, I'm not a good face when I'm crying, but I'll try to remember I'm on video.
And that is why you have been invited on this podcast, because this podcast is for elite level agents to tell sellers and other agents that want to be better than just a normal estate agent what the real score is. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Kerrie.